Hey there, rockstars. So this potentially could change the dynamics of your sales conversation and how you hold your sales conversation moving forward from now on. So I've titled this Pitch the Path, how to get prospects to fall in love with what you do even before you pitch the offer. Now, first and foremost, let's just take a step back. And I think what we need to do is we need to have self-awareness around the marketplace. What's happening in the coaching space, because the way that people are buying today, 2025, is totally different to how they bought 8 months ago, even how they bought 16 months ago. Times are changing, marketplaces are changing, the way that people are buying has also changed. So here's what we need to have self-awareness around. That if we carry on doing what we used to do 6 months ago, 8 months ago, even beyond, then at some point it's going to flatline. Because at some point, it gets to a point where there's market message fatigue. So what does that mean? Well, market message fatigue means that what used to work no longer works. So if it no longer works, it might work, but it's least effective. If it's no longer working, then we need to change things up. So what I'm going to share with you inside this short training, I'm going to try and keep this under 15 minutes, can really change the path, the direction of how you're going to hold sales calls moving forward. By the way, disclaimer, you can maybe see a bat on the mirror behind me. It's Halloween time. The children have decorated the house. So if you're watching this come Christmas time or summertime, we don't normally have bats at Christmas time or summertime around the house. Okay, so just wanted to get that out there. So let's jump into this, right? Pitch the path, how to get prospects to fall in love with what you do before you pitch your offer. Let's just have a little bit of self-awareness around this as well. It's like, think about this, and you maybe experienced this as well, right? Like, you're bringing somebody onto a call, or you've gone to a call, and somebody's taking you through a call, you're taking your prospect through a call, and then you get to that moment in a sales conversation where, like, you're breaking down your offer, and then you're quoting them $5,000 or $8,000 or $12,000, and like, you expect them to make that big, bold decision there and then to like say, yeah, I'm all in. And again, the marketplace has already been burnt, right? They've already been promised big results, yet never delivered on those results. Yet you expect them to make that big decision at $8,000 within a matter of minutes. So we need to have a little bit of respect for the marketplace, for your next prospect. So let's jump into this. Pitch the path. So what we're going to be talking about here, and I thought this is like the best way to illustrate this for you guys. So like, these are the cadences, that this is the flow of what we do. This specific video, we're talking about sales conversations. Everything to the left-hand side of the sales conversation, like spotlighting buyers, having level leadership conversations, building ecosystems, filling your calendar. That's just like following the process. Sales calls is where the skill sets needs to be really dialed in. So this is what we're going to be focusing on inside this short training. So there's a gap, right? There's a gap inside the sales conversation. Here's what happens on that call. A prospect joins the call, and they join the call for a reason. What's that reason? That reason is because they've got a problem. They see that potentially you can help them. You've had a conversation with them, and they've opened themselves up to jumping on a call with you. Or maybe they've been on a training, right? They like what you do. They're a little bit hesitant. They're a little bit skeptical, but they're open to having a conversation. So they jump on a call. Coaches, for most of the time, they're amazing at extracting information from people. So the first segment of the call goes amazing. And then as the prospect gets further down the conversation, it starts going a little bit, shall we say, topsy-turvy, if I can use those words. And it's then round about here in the middle of the conversation where things really flatline, So by the time that the prospect, gets to the end of the call, it's not in a position where they're ready to buy, they want to buy, they maybe got a ton of objections, which objections is fine, right? That's to be expected when you're in business and you're in sales. Yet the prospect leaves the conversation without buying. The prospect potentially leaves the conversation a little bit more confused than what they joined the conversation in. So the client's a little bit despondent, the coach is despondent, the prospect's despondent, and then they never buy. And that's because around about here, things start going a little bit belly up, right? That's where the gap is within inside the sales conversation. So what we want to do is, in the next 12 minutes, we're going to solve the biggest inefficiency that is going to allow you to sign more clients and bank more cash. So as I mentioned earlier on, right, you've got that warm welcome. Then we take people through the discovery grid, which is something like this. Like, we extract information from prospects and we actually write it down on a whiteboard in real time, in real motion, in front of them, so they can see what it is that they're saying. They can see what we're writing down. So it makes sure that we're on the same page. And it's amazing. So we take them through the discovery grid. Most coaches just write things down on paper, or they just scribble it on paper and they just think, well, you know what, I'm going to remember it. But here's the inefficiency. The inefficiency is, once you've extracted information from the prospect, now this is your time to bridge the gap from where they are to where they desire to be. And most coaches struggle to bridge the gap. And if you struggle to bridge the gap in explaining, in articulating what it is you do, how you do it, and the consequences of not doing it, and why doing it this way is the way where your prospects need to go on in order to get from point A to point B, from where they are to where they desire to be. If you can't pitch that solution, and it's not necessarily pitching the solution, but showcasing the solution, if you can't do that effectively, efficiently, in a way where your prospect says, wow, that's like absolutely amazing. Like, I have never experienced that. I've never seen that before. Nobody's ever actually taken the time to articulate it like that before. If they can't visualize that, then they're confused. They need to try to work it out themselves. And here's the thing, it's not up to them to work it out. It's up to us as business owners, as coaches, as mentors, as leaders, to be able to articulate that in a way where it's a no-brainer for the prospect so they can understand it. This then gives them clarity. This then gives them certainty. And then from that certainty gives them confidence in what you do. So it's all about solving the inefficiency of pitching the solution. And then once you pitch the solution, then you can jump into breaking down the offer, what that offer looks like. Then you can take them to the close, and then you can handle any objections that needs handling in order to be able to help them to elevate themselves up into who they need to be to make that decision, right? But most coaches, they do a really bad job in this position. So, and then they expect, well, this is what the offer is. Like, are you ready to buy? If we can help you to solve this inefficiency, get them at this point to go, wow, that is absolutely amazing. I love it. I can see how this is a thing that I need in order to be able to finally, once and for all, to be able to solve my problems. And that pathway, your solution, makes logical sense to them. They're going to be all in. By the time that you showcase what is involved in the offer, they're already all in. They've already been sold in. They just need clarifying on what actually is entailed inside the offer, right? So let's jump into this, because we've already been going 9 minutes, and I promise you I'm going to keep this under 15 minutes. So this is what you do, right? This is what you do. And this is something that you can just literally pick up, and you can do this on your next call. So if you've got a call later on today, tomorrow, later on in the week, on your next call, you can rehearse this, you can practice this, you can role play this, and when you get to this point in the conversation, you can just do what I'm going to lay out right now for you, and like, you will absolutely blow their mind. Literally, like, I have taught people that don't know how to sell, that hate selling, that hate following a script, they've been given a script that they can't follow because it's not in alignment with what they do, how they do it. and their personality. I have given somebody this as a flow, as a cadence to follow. And once I took them through this, they literally broke down crying because finally, after years and years and years of hating sales, they understand how they can do this and how they can sell. So let me showcase this to you. Now, there's a lot here, right? This basically is a full offer that I created for somebody. So what I really want to lean in here is the line, and then the pillars, and then the format underneath, right? So this is what I would do. Once I've taken somebody through a discovery grid, I would say, these are the exact words. And chances are, if you've been on a call with me, right, you've heard me do this. So you know that like this is exactly what we do. So I would say, okay, Mrs. Prospect. So from what you've currently told me where you're at here, I think for what you would need right now is, and what I would do is I would draw on the whiteboard, which would be absolutely blank, I would draw this horizontal line. And I'll say, so I feel for where you are right now, the first thing that you need to do is we need to uncover your soul message. Now, this is obviously tailored towards this offer, right? I would say, so right now, I feel as though from everything you've told me, everything you've tried, I think your first move right now is that you need to uncover the soul message. And I would actually physically, in real time, I would write that there out. Because in their mind, what you're doing is like you're creating them a personalized plan. And then what I would do is, then I would start explaining what we've got here underneath. But because this is like my offer or your offer, like this wouldn't be wrote out underneath. You just know this because this would be your baby. You know it inside out, upside down, backwards way around. So you could just articulate this. And this is where you can sell from your genius. So I would write down, so the first step I believe that you need right now, Mrs. Prospect, is to uncover your soul message. And the purpose of this is to, then I would explain the purpose of it, like the objective. And the objective is to uncover the deepest truth of your story that you've struggled to uncover up to press with everything you've tried. And what matters now is in your life and your business, right? So I would explain like the objective of uncovering their soul. And then as you're going through this, like they're saying, wow, yeah, that makes sense. And then you can say some of the processes you might need to go through in order to do that, Mrs. Prospect, is, and then explain some of the processes that you would, that they would need to go through. This is not you selling. This is you creating a personalized plan, right? Some of the things you might need to do in order to uncover that soul message is, and then just explain some of the processes, some of the things they might need to do. And then the outcome for you for starting here is that, and then explain the outcome of starting here. And then here's what you need to do, right? Because what we've done now is we've just like created offer certainty. We've created certainty in their mind is like why this is important to them right now. And then you can say, then you can offer in like the sales argument. But let me explain why this matters to you. And then explain why it matters to them. And every time you are like explaining the process, the purpose, the process, the outcome, why it matters, and then the invisible risk. And the thing is, if you don't do this right now, chances are 8 months down the road, this is going to occur. You're going to keep spinning your wheels. And they'll be like, yeah, wow, that makes sense. And then you can, so once you've uncovered your real soul message, then it's time to build out the book framework. And then you can move on to the next pillar within inside your offer, if that makes sense. And then again, explain the objective of this, some of the processes, the outcome, why it matters, and the cost of neglecting this. This underneath is actually edifying why you're saying what you're saying whilst you're building out the personalized plan. Why they need to do this right now for where they're at. And then by adding in why this matters and the invisible risk, you're now adding in a sales argument for why they need to do this now and why it means so much to them. Does that make sense? So by the time you've gone through your 4 pillars, or however many pillars that you've actually got inside your offer, and I would always say never have more than 3, never have more than 4, never have less than 3. Once you've got to the end, you can say, so Mrs. Prospect, from what I've laid out here following this plan, can you see how following this would make sense to you to actually, and then you can illustrate and articulate the thing that they want, their desired outcome. And they'll be like, they will be blown away, because I can assure you nobody's ever taken the time, and it only takes 8 to 10 minutes to do that, max. Nobody's taken the time before ever to actually build them a personalized plan, which the personalized plan is basically your offer, the pillars of your offer, right? So whilst you're not selling the pillars, by default, you're selling the pillars, if that makes sense. So once you've taken them through that, and they'll say, yeah, wow, that makes sense. You can say, so tell me, Mrs. Prospect, why does it make sense? And they'll tell you why it makes sense. So tell me, what is it that you like about it? They'll tell you what they like about it. And then you can say, once you've mapped it out, you can say, so, and by the way, up to this point, all they can see is the horizontal line and then the 4 pillars that you've laid out, right? You can say, so just imagine if together we could actually help you to uncover your soul message. And obviously this is an example, right? And then we could actually build your book framework out together. And then imagine we could actually help you to write your soul story, your soul message, with the right strategy. And then we could actually position, publish, so you can profit from your book. Imagine if we could do all that together. And at that point, right, they will say, wow, yes, I can see how working together with you, like going through that structure, you can help me to get the results a lot quicker. Amazing. So you've just pitched your path without selling your offer. So at that point, you can say, amazing. So I have got a 6 months or a 3 month or a 90-day coaching container that helps people like yourself to publish or to get X results. Would you be okay if I walk you through that? And there you have it, right? You just saw that biggest inefficiency of pitching your solution. And you can do it now in a way that's effective, that's efficient, and that gets them to love what you do because you just create a personalized plan around what you do without selling what you do. And then you're getting them to say yes to everything that you've just created. So then when you open up your 1-page sales sheet and you walk them through the offer, it ties everything together. They already know that you can help them 100%. So that just increases your close conversions. And maybe handling objections is a lot easier because they actually 100% understand what you do. They've got confidence in what you do. They've got clarity in what you do. They've got certainty in what you do. They've already told you that that pathway is going to help them to get the results, right? And you've just closed a deal with somebody that actually already loves what you do and how you do it. So that is how you can pitch the path and get people to fall in love with what you do before you actually pitch the offer. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I know this is 4 minutes over the 15-minute mark, but just literally in less than 20 minutes, I've solved one of the biggest inefficiencies. Now, if you want to experience this, if you maybe want to role play this with me, then just drop into my DMs with the keyword role play, and we can spend literally 15 minutes and I can role play with you your offer, and I can show you how it would work with your offer. So I hope you've experienced. I hope you've enjoyed that. I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.